Welcome, my YouTube friends. ShortFatOtaku has something to say about the new counterculture. Apparently it has something to do with Scott Pilgrim, so we shall see. ShortFatOtaku, take it away.
I'm feeling like a broken record at this point. The last, 5 videos of mine, I've had to do some kind of old man impression. Back in my day, politics was like this. But I really do feel the need to bring up some stuff that's happened before, because it's almost like people have just forgotten about it. Okay, so at this point, you must have heard the song Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Ruined a Whole Generation of Women, right? By Negative XP?
BBD and ecstasy conceited with no self-esteem. She's a
What? I am not familiar with this song. It's a song?
mainstream if you hate yourself. Bright dyed hair and obnoxious clothes thinks communism is the way to go. She's a whore, dime a dozen Jezebel.
Wow, okay. Just mask off traditional conservative fucking talk there. Nice, nice.
He really managed to nail down that generic 90s punk sound, a genre of music I'm really not that interested in. But nonetheless, he's got enough talent to pull it off. The quality of the music isn't what everyone's talking about, though. It's the lyrics.
Retarded views on politics, likes to listen to shitty music. She drinks and smokes and posts out of a dirty bar.
Don't go throwing stones about the shitty music, dude. But this song's wildly popular.
Wow. I mean, that does sound like some classic punk vibe, but the lyrics are complete garbage.
Way more popular than anything else Negative XP has done. And it is because the lyrics are describing a certain type of person that would normally be very interested in this sound. Either the type of woman who would listen to this and really enjoy it, if the lyrics were different, of course. Or alternatively, the type of man who listened to this kind of stuff in high school, grew out of it, and is now having a problem finding an actual girlfriend to settle down with. Because at least some of the girls his age are accurately described by this song. The actual guy himself, I'm not sure if he's just a memester, or if he actually is an MRA, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Either way, the establishment right now is kind of angry at him for this song. But wait, what is the establishment, anyway?
Yeah, the establishment. This is literally the first I'm hearing about this.
So we're just defending an incel and a sexist because my punk culture. You do realize this guy's a serious incel. You cannot claim to be...
Wait, are people... Okay, notice how he conveniently cropped out the likes here to show how popular this is, because these are nobody Twitter accounts. You cannot claim to be part of culture, subculture if you have no idea what its roots and values are. Wearing all black does not make you goth. Liking the 70s and drugs does not make you a hippie. You cannot be a conservative punk. Culture is more than appearance and interest. Yeah. I mean, you can appropriate the sound of punk all you want, but when you talk about such conservative concepts, it makes you not a punk.
Be a part of a culture or subculture if you have no idea what its roots and values are. Wearing all black does not make you goth. Liking the 70s and drugs does not make you a hippie. You cannot be a conservative punk. Culture is more than appearance and interests. Punk cannot literally be right-wing. Shut the fuck up, Lamau. The whole point is that...
I mean, here he's showing the likes, and it's popular. Yeah, punk literally... I mean... The right-wing response to punk was straight edge, and that just pretty much immediately became racist. So, you know... Yeah, punk literally cannot be right-wing. I agree with this person here.
That it's not. Really? Is that the point? I didn't know that the punk subculture had a particular political slant. The punk subculture includes...
What? I mean, yeah, there's definitely some racist subcultures in punk, but it is overwhelmingly anarchist and leftist. Yeah, primarily made up of beliefs such as nonconformity, anti-authoritarianism, anti-corporatism, a do-it-yourself, anti-consumeristic, anti-corporate greed, direct action. Yeah. I mean, That screams leftism to me, but let's see him spin it around to be a both sides issue.
It's a diverse array of ideologies, fashion, and other forms of expression, visual art, dance, literature, and film. It is largely characterized by anti-establishment views, the promotion of individual freedom, do-it-yourself ethics, and is centered on a loud, aggressive genre of rock music called punk rock. Punk politics cover the entire political spectrum. The punk ethos is primarily made up of beliefs such as nonconformity, anti-authoritarianism, anti-corporatism, a do-it-yourself ethic, anti-consumerism, anti-corporate greed, directly colored hair and spiked mohawks, cosmetics, tattoos, jewelry,
He's literally
and body
just
modification.
reading.
Women in the hardcore scene typically wear masculine clothing. This definitely sounds like it can describe the left. The anti-corporatism, the direct action, the not selling out, as well as the fashion style, are all enjoyed by people on the radical left right now. But this also describes the right, the anti-authoritarianism and the do-it-yourself ethic, both things that are championed right now by the right.
Anti-authoritarianism on the right? Excuse me? When we literally have people believing Trump over actual medical doctors? Ooh, let's see what he means here.
As I described in the video 2 days ago, why is preparation problematic, are actively rejected by the radical left right now. They want the centralized authority to implement socialism, and they want people dependent on that socialism, which means...
No, we're trying to use the government to break the backs of the big corporations so we can take their power away from them. If we can use the government to do that, cool. But most socialists recognize that the government is, as it currently exists, is not going to help us achieve socialism.
Means the do-it-yourself ethic is out. It's my layman's understanding that the actual core of what punk is the anti-authoritarianism. It's being a part of the counterculture. In fact, it's being explicitly offensive towards the mainstream. They're satirists, they're iconoclasts. They say and do things that the Karens of the world clutch their pearls at, and they say and do them specifically to...
I mean, in broad strokes, yes, the punk movement is largely about just being iconoclastic, shocking, yes. But usually the best punk acts did it with a purpose, with a message. And that message was definitely not anything you would recognize on the right.
Cause that reaction. But, as expected, there are a lot of social justice punks, basically just feminist women who like the fashion, who are, unsurprisingly, shitting all over Negative XP for his song.
Some of you may recognize the song Scott Pilgrim vs. the World ruined an entire generation of women based off of some popular TikToks. Well, I'm here to show my counterpoint to that song called The Song Scott Pilgrim vs. the World ruined an entire generation of women, ruined an entire generation of men that frankly had no chance to be saved to begin with. Here we go. Skater T.
Clearly influenced by Fall Out Boy.
K-Y-L-E, he dabbles in misogyny, and he's trying to have a threesome with you. His partner is non-binary and still refers to them as she and forbids them to see any other dudes. Has no good handle on consent. His parents are the 1%. His mom pays rent but says that he's oppressed. Won't date a trans girl even though...
Lol, you mad, bro? Punk is meant to offend, not be offended. Does she seem offended to you? She seems to be just sort of twisting the satire of the original song's words around on them to demonstrate why the problems this incel is screaming about are actually not the problems they think they are. Also, this is a TikTok. If they're not using music from an MP3, it has to be shit.
Though he IDs as bisexual, refuses to go see a therapist.
I guess punk is about him.
What a bop. Yeah. I mean, you mad, bro? I thought it was alright. Yeah, shittily sung, but again, it's a fucking bedroom TikTok.
Bracing the establishment politics and sanitizing language now, guys. I guess it's all about falling in line with the corporate-sponsored climate protests, or ratting out rule breakers who are going outside for non-essentials right now, or demanding government handouts. What happened to the do-it-yourself ethic? They're no longer the counterculture, they're part of the establishment now. They still...
Wow. Yeah, punks are so part of the establishment that it took the entire might of the establishment to stop the punk rock Bernie movement from getting the nomination. Boy, yeah. Oh boy.
desperately want to cling to that rebellious feel, that they're somehow the freedom fighters going up against the entire world. But who actually believes it?
Oh god, I just noticed his tranchies down here. Trancies? I feel like this is a dog whistle I'm not informed enough to get. Salted with her tears.
All of their musical stars are past middle age taking corporate sponsorships. Their fashion is mainstream. Their subculture is now popular and profitable, like Scott Pilgrim has shown us. I saw a fascist who is still thinking about this, and how punk is anti-establishment, so we can continue to be Trumpian and listen to punk. Oh really? And how anti-establishment are you? Considering that virtue signaling is the establishment now, and you've got that rainbow flag emoji in your name. You've got those
Wow, this guy is fucking incoherent. Like, his whole point is that this Dearest Zeus's whole point is that he's talked to fascists, who he thinks are fascists, who say that since punk is all about anti-establishment, since the establishment is against Trump, it's still punk to be Trumpian, which ignores the fact that Trump himself is a part of the establishment. It's such a simple... oh boy. Again, this is not my observation, but a good one. When right-wing people don't have a good argument, they just gesture vaguely at hypocrisy, and that's exactly what he's doing here.
Pronouns in your bio. And yes, virtue signaling is the mainstream culture right now. I don't give a fuck if you're cisgender, put your damn pronouns in your bio. Hey, just want to urge...
So the reason for that is that it normalizes having pronouns in your bio so that it doesn't paint trans people as a target, and makes it more normalized for people to have their pronouns there. This is why it's so quickly just become oh, you have pronouns in your bio, you're dismissed, which is why we come back with pronouns in bio, no argument you have. Way to make that straw man argument on a fucking YouTube video. Jesus Christ.
Urge cis oomps to put your pronouns in your bio. Let's help create a safe space for the transgender community. A good way to subtly signal to trans people that you're with them is to put your pronouns in your bio. We would like this to become standard practice because it makes more sense. Putting pronouns in your bio for cis people helps normalize and protect trans individuals. If this is the mainstream right now...
Yeah. What? Okay. Yeah. This is not the mainstream. This is an accepted idea by progressives who are trying to be more mainstream, but it depends on what exactly you mean by mainstream. Again, you're using very vague language to talk about the issue you have. And so it can be anything you want.
Then the offensive counterculture would be to parody this, but sarcastically using Z and Zer, or identifying as an attack helicopter or something. That's not considered punk, even though it actually fits with the original spirit of punk. That's considered fascist or whatever. Alright.
No, because punk is not blindly anti-establishment or what have you. It's progressive, which tends, especially when it was popular in the 70s and 80s, more 60s and 70s, but tends to be, and the establishment tends to be anti-progressive. So they're more progressive than they are anti-establishment, is what I'm trying to say. When being progressive conflicts with their anti-establishment views, they will temporarily suspend the anti-establishment views in order to achieve good ends. At least ethical punk will.
Forget the stupid Twitter junk for a minute. The punk subculture is still about being shocking. It's still about being provocative. It's still about causing moral panics. The only difference is, it's now the punks themselves that are the targets of it. Again, at the risk of sounding like an old man, the left of today has failed to realize that we've advanced into a new political era. The Republicans were once the party of George Bush and the neocons. They were all about globalist corporatism, eternal war in the Middle East, generally over oil, and codifying Christian fundamentalism into American law. During that era, the 90s and the 2000s, it was very easy for the left to hold the moral high ground against that kind of an opponent. And most people who are relatively apolitical, but lazily identify as center-left, do so because of that era. Left became the dominant political affiliation for your average Joe, because the right was just constantly dropping the ball. But there was a paradigm shift in 2012. Again, go back to that Rachel Maddow clip that I posted like a week or so ago. The Republicans got destroyed in those elections. And when they came back, they were not George Bush's Republicans. The remnants of that Republican Party...
What? Wait, let's check out this. Because from what I recall, the Republicans basically, cleaned house in 2010 and 2012, and that was...
we are not going to have a Supreme Court that will overturn Roe versus Wade. There will be no more Antonin Scalia's and Samuel Alito's added to this court. We're not going to repeal health reform. Nobody is going to kill...
This is in response to Obama winning the 2012 election. This was seen to be as a rejection of the Romney politics. Describing the bubble. This whole 16-minute video, fuck that. Let me just look at Congress seats 2012 U.S. Okay. So... okay, this is the House. Let's see. Can I just get, yeah. So the Republicans had a 54 to 46 majority in the House. And what about the Senate? I believe we had a blue Senate at the time, right? Here we go. Yeah. So, Republicans had the House, Democrats had the Senate. So, I don't know, I'm not watching a 16-minute video right now, but, this was, her words sound like they were in response to Obama getting elected, not to some sort of thrashing of the Republicans. Because there was definitely no thrashing of the Republicans in 2012.
Are still embodied in, the Mitt Romney never-Trumpers, who are basically losers at this point. They have no political capital anymore. But the left still pretends like it has the moral high ground, like it's fighting the right wing of old, like they are somehow still the counterculture, still the subversive element taking on the evil empire.
Jesus Christ, with these right-wingers and conflation. Fuck! There's a difference between punk rock counterculture and the Democratic establishment. Punks don't agree with the Democratic establishment. They may, not in general. There may be certain things they agree on, like their progressive positions, but again, punk is generally pretty leftist, pretty socialist, pretty anarchist. There's a reason why the spray-painted A with a circle is such a popular punk symbol. Jesus Christ.
But that's just not how it is anymore. The radical left is not the rebellion. And this whole punk thing, with this, frankly, kinda dumb Negative XP song, perfectly encapsulates this wider issue. These people have been so used to thinking that they are the counterculture, that now that they're not, now that they've actually seized cultural power, Now that their ideology can be found everywhere in our society, they have no idea what to do. So they just carry on acting like they're somehow still the underdog. And as a result, they keep losing to the actual.
This is where essentialization creates problems. Because you're essentializing that anti-authoritarian, anti-establishment bend of punk and ignoring the fact that that is the result of their what we now term as progressive views, when the punk artist is actually political. There are some apolitical punk artists, but they weren't the good ones.
Underdog. I mean, really, do you think people like Greta Thunberg, or even Anita Sarkeesian, to bring back an old name, do you really think they're the grassroots counterculture, speaking at the UN? Or do you think the counterculture is maybe all the YouTubers listed in the Alternative Action Report? I mean, as flawed as that thing was, the whole point of it was to describe how these deplorables, these subversives, these people who had absolutely no mainstream support, had crafted their own community outside the walls, beyond the bounds of what the mainstream considers acceptable. Now, they labeled it as an alt-right pipeline, which is completely ludicrous, but it is a structure that isn't mainstream. It is the new counterculture. I think this is why Negative XP's song received, and continues to receive despite being over 8 months old, this ridiculous backlash. Because it's using, for the first time in probably a decade, the sound of punk to do what punk was originally meant to do. Offend the sensibility.
Lick boots and simp for traditional values? No, this video is fucking incoherent. Holy shit. I didn't realize ShortFatOtaku was that fucking stupid. Like, 84,000 subscribers, and he's just this incoherent. Punk is much more about the progressive advocacy and not about the, well, the, what's the word I'm thinking of here? Not about just blind anti-authoritarian, anti-establishment views for the final time. Boy, that was stupid. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment because it helps me. Subscribe and ring that bell to help you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.